Okay, today is Monday. It's 9:25 p.m. It's the second day of forex trading, and so today I was able to make a profit on my prop firm challenge, the phase one part, and the way things are going, most likely I will pass and go into phase two, barring any unforeseen circumstances like hopefully I didn't breach any rules. Looks like I haven't. Anytime I trade, I have to keep track of whether I'm breaching the HFT rule, which means that I have to hold a trade for at least 15 seconds. Okay. If I hold it for 16 seconds, it's okay. So I have to hold on to that. So every trade that I made several hundred trades, and I had to observe that rule. Now today is something that is common with something called the tilt. The remedy for a tilt is being calm. Actually, it's cool, calm, and collected. Right? That's what it means. So it's like a professional. It's like a professional. I've on YouTube. There's a lot of police chase scenes that are public records, right? So this so one in particular, this police officer uh, is. I mean, okay, so this guy is cool. This guy is a cool cat. I'll tell you what. So this car, he's speeding down the highway, right? He's speeding down the highway in this SUV, and this cop, this police officer, right, is pulled right along it. But these people in the front has a gun and shooting at him, right? And but he's still chasing them. He's like close. He's like close. He's doing the he's doing the pit maneuver, right? At a close distance while they're shooting at him. And then he performs the pit maneuver. And then the car careens and crashes, and then he pulls over, he pulls, and then he gets out of the car. He has a body cam, right? So his body cam is showing the car, and he has bullet holes in the passenger side of his police cruiser. And then he calmly walks over and does his police duties and things like that. So that guy is cool, calm, and collected. Okay. So I thought about this as well. Now, when a medical doctor is in an emergency, and a that's why they have interns. Okay, they have internships to build experience because they need to they need to bring out they need to erase the novice part of it, which causes and brings upon emotional trauma, and that trauma stirs up adrenaline and angst in the brain and all that stuff because they're trying to juggle these things that they haven't been made into the subconscious, making it automatic. And uh, so that is a clear distinction between individuals who are able to stand up. I heard like stories about these comedians who gets in front of the crowd, and the first time they get booed, they get all rattled because they don't know how to handle it, right? Because they're inexperienced. They have to be experienced in these things, right? So that's the same thing with the same thing with playing chess. They're doing anything that is competitive. There is that emotional trigger that pops up that causes myself especially to become like poker. There's a thing called tilt.com or some tiltpoker.com or something like that. It's tilting. It happens all the time. Even if there's a conversation that causes a rift between individuals, certain trigger words will cause the individuals to become tilted, and the conversation may turn into something else, right? And so in poker, I mean, in trading, what I've noticed today, especially, okay, so I saw this sudden movement and I took advantage of it. I got in and I had this adrenaline that's kicked in, and I was like down on one of them, okay, and then I made another trade that is inversely correlated, so I got into that and I rode that up, and as soon as I closed and I saw the other one, it dropped. So that essentially made, and then I made one more subsequent trade, which caused me to meet my profit target for the day, right? And so, okay, that was it. Easy come, easy go. Within 30 minutes, right? It was done, done and done. And then I took another trade, and then it started to just tank. I mean, even with a small lot, it started to tank, and essentially erased all the gains that I had. So that made it interesting. But what I needed to do was be cool, calm, and collected to recover what I've the gain that I had and then I lost. In order to gain it, I had to be cool, calm, and collected. The difference between a systematic trader, which can be coded into a software language that can be automatically placed into a robot, and that robot makes the trade, and me hand trading, is that tilt factor that that requires the the difference between these two, the software and me, is that cool, calm, and collected factor that allows me to employ the things that I have in my experience and in my logical thinking with the setups that I have and the other stuff that surrounds the way that I need to trade. And it makes more sense when I'm cool, calm, and collected. Just like that guy James Bond. I mean, whenever he's in any situation, he's calm, he's cool, calm, and collected. So so there's this scene. There's many scenes like that, but he's always cool, calm, and collected, right? He's always like that. Even when he's poisoned and he's got to go into his car and inject himself with anti-poison or something, right? And he's like, he's almost gone, and then he just it's a movie, of course, right? Then there's this one scene. There's this one scene. So they capture him, right? And so he's in a ship. Uh, what do you call those? Cargo. He's in a ship cargo inside, and these two thugs uh, got him naked, and he's like strapped down to a chair, and then one of the thugs has this very it's tied to like a belt or something, like a metal object or something, and then he slams into this naked. The chair is empty, and he's sitting there, and he's naked, and and males have these things there, right? And so he just slams it, and James Bond says, "Oh, thank you. May I have another?" Right? But even though he's on that duress, he's under enormous amount of duress. He's like cool, calm, and collected, right? He's cool, calm, and collected. He does not he flinches a little bit, but he's still cool, calm, and collected. So the thug just rams another one, right? And he just like bites his teeth and says, "Oh, thank you." Oh boy. Anyway, so in day trading, things can go out of, like, it can just it can just it's like an avalanche. It's like a domino effect. And unless there is a cool, calm, and collected part of me that is able to stop that tilt. That's why it is so important to be to be the mind and the body has to be preserved. It has to be preserved at whatever expense it is. It doesn't, for people who don't trade, they don't understand this. But there has to be a threshold of a point where the body and the mind is above in order to make the proper trades. If it's compromised underneath here, then all sorts of can break open. I mean, it can just it can just blow out of proportion and lose the challenge immediately. That's what happens. Okay, losing 1 or 2% can be just one or two, just one trade, and not even understanding it can cause a breach of the challenge. Okay, that's how things can happen, and if the mind and the body, okay, if the mind and the body, okay, the heart has to be there. It wants to do it. It's always there, but the mind and the body has to be preserved above the upper threshold of competency in trading. Okay, that's how it is easier to remain cool, calm, and collected. Otherwise, if I were to wash dishes for like 6 days and then have to work like really hard and not eat enough, what that's gonna cause me to be is like latched under here. And when that happens, whatever I do for the past 2 years, it will be like that, like losing every challenge because I would immediately get into a tilt because the subconscious will flare up, and I cannot control the subconscious if my mind and the body is below the threshold of trading competency. I have to be. That's why some of these platforms they talk about on YouTube, like they measure their what do they call it? They call it they what is it? They call it the temp, checking their temp, trading their trading temp. They talk about measuring their temp. It's how heated are you emotionally, okay? How heated are you in emotion, so that you can so that when the heat is above, which is essentially inverse of being underneath the threshold of competency, then when the heat is there, that means that there there will you I am more prone to becoming tilted. That's what it means. If I'm overly excited, or if I'm overly excited, or I'm overly upset, those are the circumstances where I'm underneath of the threshold that is required for me to make the right trade. Okay, and it all ties into being the mind and the body. If it's tired, a lot of these professional traders who are professional, they're latched on. They're latched. They know. They're they're cool, calm, and collected. They are cool, calm, and collected. You have to be cool, calm, and collected in order to present myself to the market in the best possible scenario to make to make the best possible way to make money from the market. Otherwise,